In this series we'll rank every single one of all the instruments down here. Strings, woodwinds, brass, percussion, electronical, vocal, you name it. But really, what defines a good and a garbage instrument? And which ones are actually the best? Well, that's what you're gonna see in this video. Well, we'll rank every single instrument based on how they sound and how versatile they are, from the S tier all the way down into the F tier. Stick to the end because I'm gonna change a lot of my opinions and this might get pretty interesting. And before we continue with the video, here are a few disclaimers. First, I've just included the main version of each instrument, because if not, this video would literally be endless. Second, I've grouped every drum into this drum image, every small percussion instrument into this triangle image, and every xylophone into this xylophone image. And lastly, remember that everything I say in this video is completely my opinion, so please don't blast me in the comments. So let's start up fresh with the piano. The piano is an amazing instrument. Like, it's versatile, like you can use it in any genre of music, and the sound is so good. Like, I love the piano, but the only downside would be that it's not really portable, but that doesn't really count. Yeah, it's an automatic S tier. So moving on, we have the accordion. Frankly, it's one of my favorite instruments because like the sound is so like Paris baguette. No, but seriously, like it sounds really good. Like, let me show you. Like, look, it's what I told you. Like, imagine yourself in the streets of Paris and everything. I'm hesitating between the S tier and the A tier. Well, I think we'll put it in A tier for the moment, but like if it's better than the A tier, we'll put it in S tier, but we'll see. Okay, so then we have the trombone. Like, it's a really horn-like sound, and it can be really good like in action scenes and things like that. And I really like the trombone. Like, I really like every instrument at this point. I actually think it's better than the accordion, but it doesn't deserve the S tier. So then we have the classic, the trumpet. Another time, let's hear it. So as you can see here, the sound is kind of like similar to the trombone. Of course, since it's smaller, it's actually higher, but like, come on, it's a classic, so we gotta put it up here. And now we have the harmonica. This is a more like a secondary instrument. This kind of also reminds me of like the accordion. Yeah, I think it's like a little limited, but the sound is pretty nice, so I'll put it in B tier for a moment. So then we have the tuba, and I can already say like it's a bass instrument, so like there aren't many applications of it, but I'll show you its sound so you can see. So as you can see here, the sound is pretty soft and like it isn't really remarkable. It's really not that versatile, so C tier seems right for me. So then we have this weird instrument, and no, it's not a tuba. It's actually something called, let's see if I remember it, an euphonium. Yeah, it's kind of a strange name, but I think it's pretty similar to like the tuba and like the bassoon that we have here that we'll see later, but I don't really remember how it sounded, so let's search it. I didn't remember it sounding like so good, but maybe it's like for the room of this guy, like it kind of amplifies it, but it really impressed me, so I think it deserves at least a bottom A tier. Oh, we have the French horn. As I remember, it kind of sounds like, I can't describe it, but let's see. Like, it kind of reminds me of a tuba, but a little higher. But like, yeah, it's kind of like the same thing as with the tuba. Like, it's not that noticeable. So yeah, I think I'll put it in top B tier. I think it's like a good place to put it. And then I really hoped for this one, the synth. And I gotta tell you, the synth is better than the piano, because you can literally do anything with the synth. it. Like you can put like farts, put like bells, put like anything on the notes of it, and like you can create anything. Like you can create any instrument with it. That's why it's the best instrument in my opinion. So then the organ. I remember hearing the organ in like Simon's theme. I don't know if you know from the video game Castlevania, which is like a great game with Dracula and things like that, and it sounds like really dramatical, but like it has few applications, but when you put it in those applications it sounds very good. I think since it's not that versatile, I'm gonna put it in top B tier. Let me show you how it sounds. That's really loud. I'm gonna lower it a little bit. Like it sounds really dramatic. I like that. It sounds really good. Like that's what I said. I think my description stands still. So then we have the harpsichord. It's an old instrument like the org. Like you won't see it like a lot these days, but man, I think it sounds very good. It's kind of similar to the organ. Let me show you. Like it gives it like kind of eerie feeling. Like I think it's similar to the org, but it's less characteristic. So yeah, I think it goes a little bit below it. And then we have the drum set. Well, with this thing you can do any percussion. Like it's really the must-have of like almost every single band. So yeah, automatic S tier. I'm gonna put it over the piano because I think it's more important. And okay, now we've got all the drums. So when you have a drum set, like you can add other drums and everything, but like you already have a drum and everything, like they're really good, but like they aren't as useful as the full drum set. So I think we'll put it like in the A tier. And then we have the small percussion instruments, and they're like really occasional, but some of them have a really good sound. For example, I don't think the triangle is that useful, but like there's the bells and everything, but like yeah, they're passable. Like I wouldn't use them very often, so I'll put them in C tier. And then we have the xylophones. They're a little bit like the small percussion instruments, but they have more pizzazz to it. Like I don't know if it's just me or anything, but yeah, I think they're actually really good, so I'll put in top of the B tier. I want to show you an example of like a metallophone, which is like a xylophone made of metal. Well, these aren't like only like the metallophone like I was saying, but you can see they sound like really good. I think we'll put it in bottom A tier. And then, well, these three, don't confuse them. This is the violin, this is the viola, and this is the cello. The violin is like a classic, like it's like the goat of like classical music and that kind of music, but you can also see it like in all genres, but it's the most dramatic of any instrument. It sounds so sad and like it's a really good sound. Yeah, I think for like the popularity of it and like it's so good that it deserves bottom S tier. And well, there's the viola. It's like in the shadow of the violin, but I think we can still put a sample. I may change my mind. Oh, it sounds pretty good. Oh, it's really good. I didn't hope for it to be that good. Actually, it deserves a good A tier. Really good. I really like that sound. And then we have the cello. Actually, you'll have a surprise. Hold on a second. My sister actually plays the cello, so I actually have one in my home, so you can hear it now. Well, I know how to play the cello, but like I know how to play an instrument, so we'll see. Like well, we've messed around enough with that. So yeah, it really has a good sound. Is it better than the viola? Sorry, sister, but I don't think so. And we'll put the drum below, we'll put this up here, and that's it. And by the way, if you would have asked me like a few months ago like about these instruments like the violin, and the cello, I would have told you like I don't really like these instruments, but I've started to like them a lot. And then, oh boy, we have the big boy, the contrabass. Even with the shape, you can see it's fat, it's ugly. Like, I wonder what the sound of it will be. So here they say like it's not really loud, it's a really like sweet sound and like effectuous sound. I really like that. I thought it would be lower, but actually I think it's a little bit better than the cello. And then the harp. In my distant memories, I think it was like a pre-harmonic instrument and it sounded like really mystical, but we'll see a sample to remind myself of that. Oh yes. Interesting. It kind of reminds me of like a mix between a piano and something else I can't remember. But like, yeah, really good. I think I'll put it below the viola. The trumpet will put it down a little bit. And let's go with the following instrument. I think this is a lyre, L-Y-R-E. I don't think anyone plays that anymore, if I'm not wrong. A pole with deep brown. You can see it's an old instrument. It really reminds me of the harp. And yeah, it's like a long lost brother of the harp, the lyre. Let's put the xylophone up because I remembered I really like that sound. The euphonium up too. The trumpet, let's put it another time above the contrabass. And I think the list is pretty good. So next up we have the classic. Ironic because this is literally called the classic guitar. I actually play it as a second instrument, so I can show you. Let's unwrap it over here. And as you can see, it's really smaller than a cello, but well, I'll show you how it sounds. Let me tune it for a sec. Ooh, this one needs to be turned a little bit down. Now I can show you. And I can also play some chords. I think it's pretty good. We'll hear it in YouTube to be clear. Wait, I've already heard that song. Like, you see it has a really traditional sound. It really resembles like the harp and the lyre. I think the lyre is slightly above the guitar. Well, it's getting late now, so I'll continue the list tomorrow. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry if the camera was kind of bad quality, but now before we continue with the tier list, if you're liking this video, subscribe. It will really mean a lot to me, so thanks in advance. Okay, so now we've got the mandolin. I don't really know how it sounds, so we're gonna find it out. Oh, interesting. It sounds a little bit like a more funky guitar, I don't know. Hey, it's really joyful. I really like that. I don't think it's better than the accordion. It's also worse than the drums in general, so a low A could be good. And now we've got the bass guitar. Hey. Of course it's bassy because it's a bass instrument, but like, yeah, it's really goated, so I think it deserves a spot higher than the guitar. It's really good. And now we've got the electric guitar. Hey. Yeah, it kind of resembles the bass, but like you can do more things. Like, yeah, it's higher than the bass. Can it be higher than the viola? Yes, maybe. And then this weird instrument is actually called the lute, and I also don't really know how it sounds. I think it's a medieval instrument, so let's it's cool, like it resembles like the harp but deeper. But yeah, I don't think it's that noticeable, so I actually like the mandolin more, so we're gonna put it like in the bottom of the A tier. Now the acoustic guitar, it's like a little different from the actual guitar, and I think I have one in my house, but I don't really know where it is, so we're gonna see how it sounds over here. It sounds like a little more metallic than the actual guitar, but there's not much of a difference. But I actually kind of prefer this one, so it's sitting right above this one. And then we have this really weird shaped instrument, and I searched, it's called the balalaika. It's from Russia. I'm kind of interested knowing how it sounds. It sounds a lot like a guitar, really. Yeah, I think like the mandolin, the banjo, and the balalaika are really similar. So I actually prefer the mandolin a little bit over the balalaika, but we're gonna see with the banjo. Yes, as I said, it's really similar to the other two. So I think the list goes like this. We're gonna make changes after that, but now we're gonna go with the voice. This one is kind of interesting because you wouldn't think it's an instrument, but you can still make noise with your voice. But well, we also have to think that like you can sing with your voice, so it's really versatile. But I don't think it's as versatile as a synth, so it's gonna go just below it. And then we have this thing, which is actually a flute. It's a pretty high instrument, so I'm gonna show it to you. It's a really calming sound. As you can see here, the person used them in a piece that you wouldn't think flute should be, but it's really good actually. I think, wow, it's really good as an instrument. Yeah, this is the perfect position. And I think we're gonna move the electric guitar down because it's not that good. And then we have this, which is the oboe, and it sounds a little bit like a flute but very different at the same time. Let me show you. Yes, it's definitely not as characteristic as the flute, but hey, I really like that. It's really good. And then we have this thing. You think it's a bunch of tubes, maybe, if you don't know what instrument it is. But it's the pan flute. And I actually don't really know how it sounds, so let's see. Yeah. It's like a normal flute, but like more dirty. It's like you can hear more the wind going through the instrument. Isn't as good as I thought it could be. So yeah, it's gonna go pretty low. Yeah, I think overall the flute's a much better instrument. It's okay, but I don't really like its sound. I'm sorry if you played that. And then we have a kind of a joke instrument because it's not really an instrument, but it's the vuvuzela. And it's a little bit unfair to put it in this tier list, but we're gonna put it anyways. Yeah, as you can hear, it's a pretty annoying instrument. It deserves well the E tier because don't play this instrument unless if you're in a football stadium. And now we have this, which is the bagpipe, and let's see if it's not too loud what we encounter. As you can see, it's like a very folky instrument, like it's for folk. It's like a bit like the org, like it's very specific. So yeah, above the org seems well. And now the cornemuse, which is like a bagpipe but slightly different, I know. Well, I just found out that the cornemuse is like a little bit like the bagpipe, so I'm a little bit dumb. Why? We're gonna put it at the same level as the bagpipe. And now we have the recorder. Oh boy. I don't think it's gonna be really good, but let's see. If we're gonna use this sound, It reminds me a little bit of the oboe, but like less good. But it's not terrible at all. And now we've got the bassoon. I actually was waiting for this moment. I actually play the bassoon as a main instrument, so I can show you. Here is the bag. You actually have to mount this instrument, so it's kind of annoying, but you get used to it. And we put the final piece to it, and I can show you. Well, that's enough. It's gonna sit right over here. So as you can have heard, this instrument sounds really good. But of course I can be a little biased because it's my instrument. But to be a little bit more unbiased, I'm gonna show you a recording from the internet and you're gonna decide. It's a really like, I don't know how to describe, but I kind of like the instrument, but it's not that versatile, so I think it actually deserves to be right here above the trumpet. And then we've got the clarinet. I really remember liking the clarinet, but we're gonna hear it. As you can see here, it really resembles like if it was like a phone sound. Okay, I really like it. I never thought of that, but it kind of reminds me of a synthesizer. So yeah, I really like it. I think it deserves a high A tier. And then we've got the saxo. I've heard a lot of people say the saxo is really cool and it's really popular. Well, like, I think the saxophone's very versatile. You know what? It reminds me of like an oboe. So I think it's slightly better than the oboe. And then we've got the final instrument. And actually, if you can see in the photo, I think it's a Zelda themed ocarina, and I've got the same one at home. You don't believe me? Look at it. Yeah, it's the same, but like this one, it's not the best quality you can get, so I'm gonna play it to you, but we're gonna still search it on the internet to see. Like, it really reminds me of like the recorder and all those things. We're gonna listen to that. Here it says ancient. It really sounds like ancient. Like, I really like that. Is it better than all these instruments above? I'm gonna confidently say no. So yeah, the tier list is done. Let me rearrange it a little bit to end up all of this. So I moved the small percussion instruments up. Now personally I would move it a little bit down, but keep it in the B tier just because of the cymbal. The horn and the tuba also got moved upwards, and I moved down some string instruments along with other changes. But I have to warn you, I'll still change a lot of stuff. I would move the recorder down because honestly I don't think these were the right audios. I'd move the saxophone and the harp up to appease the crowds, and also the pan flute, and also some other things that I may or may not remember right now. Sorry. I think this tier list is done. I know there are a lot of mistakes in here, but I've tried my best to put it as accurate as possible. And to end this video, remember to like, subscribe and everything. Thanks you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.